या सदरात तुमचं सर्वांचं खूप खूप स्वागत आहे. तुम्हाला माहितीच आहे की आपण ह्या सदरामध्ये कर्तृत्ववान महिलांचे इंटरव्ह्यूज घेतो आहोत, त्यांचा प्रवास जाणून घेतो आहोत. आज आपल्याकडे ज्या गेस्ट आहेत, शी इज अ पॉप्युलर अवॉर्ड विनिंग कम्युनिटी लीडर, शी इज अ रायटर, ॲक्ट्रेस. त्यांचा स्वतःचा रेडिओ चॅनल होता. आय थिंक लाईक मी जर त्यांचं असंच इंट्रोडक्शन करत राहिले तर द लिस्ट वुड जस्ट गो ऑन. आपल्या कोणाला ही व्यक्ती अनोळखी नाही आहे. आपण त्यांचा रिसेंटली वुमन इन फोकस ह्या अवॉर्डविषयी आपण आपल्या ग्रुपवरही वाचलं होतं. सो मी आज आपल्याबरोबर आहेत नलिनीताई भुई. नमस्कार नलिनी भुई, आणि तुमचं या कार्यक्रमामध्ये खूप खूप स्वागत आहे.
थँक्यू. तुम्ही एवढं मान देऊन मला इथे इन्व्हाइट केले तर मला बाकी
थँक्यू. द प्लेजर इज ऑल आर्स. तर मी थेट पहिल्या प्रश्नाकडे वळणार आहे. व्हॉट डिड इन्स्पायर यू टू सिलेक्ट दिस करिअर? तुम्ही इथे कधी आलात? हाऊ डिड यू स्टार्ट युअर करिअर? आणि त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला काही चॅलेंजेस आले का ह्यामध्ये?
सो it's a long 40-year history, but me 4 minutes मध्ये प्रयत्न करणार. So career started in India actually by fate.
Oh,
I should say. 40 वर्षांपूर्वी मुंबईमध्ये KM हॉस्पिटलमध्ये जे कार्डिओवॅस्क्युलर थोरॅसिक सेंटर आहे तिथे मला त्यांनी अपॉइंट केली.
ओके.
कारण लोकांना हार्ट अटॅक जेव्हा होत होता दे वुड डाय ॲट अ व्हेरी यंग एज. आणि एक असं झालं की 19 वर्षाचा एक मुलगा, ॲथलीट, रनर इन फिट कंडिशन, ही हॅड हार्ट अटॅक, अ मॅसिव्ह हार्ट अटॅक. ही सर्वाइव्ड, पण ही अँड हिज फॅमिली वॉज सो पेट्रिफाईड. अँड तेव्हा ट्रीटमेंट वॉज लॉंग बेड रेस्ट टू रिकवर फॉर द हार्ट अटॅक. दॅट वॉज द नॉर्म. So that was not something that was normal, that was not a good thing. And so the top cardiologists of Bombay, so we were part of the team, and they approached me and asked if I would spearhead the cardiac rehab program. So that's how I got involved with it. आणि त्याच्यानंतर मी जेव्हा so to cut a long story short, we made this program so good that we could check the oxygen consumption levels of the patients after the heart attack and through the whole rehab process. And so we could scientifically say ki काय करू शकता आणि काय नाही करू शकता, म्हणजे up to a point, obviously.
Correct. Yeah.
So it was a very exciting and interesting start for a career. And you know, certainly there were a lot of challenges, obviously, because nobody in the team knew everything about the details of physiology, wound physiology, ergonomics, statistics, cardiology, all the new electronic equipment.
Correct. And that is a very scientific field to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is very hard for us to, and then engineers would come from Siemens to teach us about the new resuscitation equipment and all that. So it was a very exciting, but quite a dynamic. Every day there was progress, and just lots to read and lots of work to do. Long hours, of course. But I was just fortunate to get that opportunity, and I'm very grateful to the eminent cardiologists like Dr. Kale, Dr. Pinto, and all from Mumbai, and Chunky Pandey's father, Dr. Sharad Pandey. He was a very famous cardiothoracic surgeon, and so we were part of that team. And so that's India. Now, just as I was leaving India, one of my patients, a 40-year-old fisherwoman, she was so happy with the rehab and the way everything. I mean, she ate fish, which you think is very healthy. She led a healthy lifestyle. She was only 40, and so they were very shocked as well when this fisherwoman got a heart attack. So when I left India, she gave me one of their family heirloom. Now you cannot even get this shell in the ocean, but in her father's time, you could get it in the ocean. So she printed my name and she gave that to me as a gift. So gratitude from patients is what also kept you going. Now coming to Canada, challenges were of course very different, as with all new immigrants. Weather is the first one. In Bombay, I knew plus 40 centigrade. But in Edmonton, I did not know minus 40 centigrade. And I was looking at snow and I'm thinking, what is that?
I think that's the first challenge everyone faces.
Right? Then I was a pure vegetarian. They did not know what vegetarianism was. So it was a challenge. Then of course childcare, the usual challenges for professional women, taking care of parents as well as kids, balancing everything was not very easy, obviously. Nevertheless, obviously we've overcome all those challenges, and I must say at this point that we are very successful today as a family. However, my husband and I, we started out by eating one peanut butter sandwich every day. That's all we could afford when we first came here. So once you pass these usual challenges, which most women face, there were some challenges that were very specific to our family. For example, we had to move every year depending upon where you're studying or when you're working, because my husband had to do his residency all over it again here, although we were at the top in our field in India. So we had to prove ourselves again. But this meant that he worked 100 to 120 hours a week. And he did that for decades, even thereafter. And so all the other responsibilities on top of full-time work were entirely mine. So I was his pillar of support, but who was mine? Fortunately, I'm a very strong person, and I enjoy working long hours. But that was all great, but sleeping for just 4 to 5 hours for decades, that takes a toll on your system. So that was a major challenge. But aside from that, we had criminals follow me when I was picking up the kids from school. So I had to protect my children from criminal elements, and so that was and how to handle that, because we're not used to that kind of stuff. So that was another very interesting challenge to have to deal with. But 40 years later, I'll say that I think we'll come through. From our one peanut butter sandwich days, we've come a long ways to settling down, and now I'm the president-elect, I'm the elected president, I should say, of the Surrey Art Gallery Association, and people seem to be happy with what I'm doing. I'm the first South Asian woman in that role, and so that was a very interesting task, which I learn every single day. I will be 70 this year, but I still learn every single day and enjoy learning and enjoy supporting the community. But I must say this, I do this with no guilt and total joy.
I think आणि म्हणूनच तुम्ही ते करू शकता, because you find joy in everything, in doing the social service or helping others. So I think that what stands out about you. आणि challenges तर म्हणजे आता बाकीच्या आपण ह्याचे ऐकतोय, पण this is something like totally different that I have heard, की someone is following you आणि that is a totally different kind of thing to handle. So पण आता with all the work that you have been doing, how did you manage your house and that work? Because being a woman, that is a big part, and as you said that since your husband was pretty busy with his own work, how did you manage that?
Definitely it was not easy, for sure, to bring that balance. However, I'm a very simple person. I have a very simple philosophy in life. You can be the Prime Minister of the country, but if you don't do your role as mom of the house, then what's the point? So I take my role and responsibility as mom of the house very seriously. And so in any task that I do, I try to balance everything, but in the first picture, I always put my family needs first, make sure that they're taken care of. And then I prioritize everything and do as much as I possibly can with no guilt, no blame, no anger, and no fear. So I try to have unconditional love, not just for my family, but for everybody. I like to see young people in the community do well. It gives me great joy when I see them doing well, and I always support that. So it is not easy, but it's a mindset.
Correct.
So I believe in the power of prayer. And so I ask for guidance for my inner spirit to guide me along the path of life. And then when I have a systematic approach, I find that things just fall into place.
Correct.
So it just happens.
That is really inspiring, म्हणजे to have that thing. आता मी पुढच्या प्रश्नाला येते की आजच्या आता नवीन ज्या मुली इथे येत आहेत टू कॅनडा, त्यांना तुम्ही काय सल्ला द्याल इफ दे वॉन्ट टू परस्यू एनिथिंग जे तुम्ही करताय, म्हणजे तुमच्या तर यू आर सो मल्टी टॅलेंटेड आणि यू हॅव सच अ डायव्हर्स एक्सपिरियन्स इन सो मेनी थिंग्स. सो वॉट advice will you give to the new girls that are coming to Canada?
Okay, so for newcomers to Canada, or even those who have been here a while but have not been able to get into the mainstream,
Right.
for whatever reason, my only advice is each person is different. Think of your strengths. Think of your, I wouldn't say weaknesses, but the needs that you have to face, and see what you can face, what you want to face, and what you don't want to face. Then pursue your goal with one-mindedness. But again, no blame, no guilt, no fear. Because a lot of young mothers, they feel, oh my gosh, I'm going to work, I can't do this for my children, I can't do that for my... It doesn't matter. That's not important. Because they get the vibes of your guilt. Or you're always blaming someone. You know, you see in the sitcoms, you know, the in-laws, daughter-in-law blame the mother-in-law, mother-in-law blame the daughter-in-law. And it carries on. And then, you know, somebody else throws a spark from outside, and then that's the end of everything. So if you have unconditional love and respect, and don't fall into the blame game, automatically your energy, and you focus your energy towards joy. Nobody can give you joy. Nobody can make you joyful. You yourself can only make yourself joyful. And you can spread that joy to your family, to your community, and it shows. And that is what will bring not only you forward, but your family forward, and everybody else beyond. And that's the most important job that you can do. Any individual, whether it's a man, woman, girl, mother, old lady, anybody, doesn't matter. That's the only thing you can do. Unconditional love and bring joyfulness. That's important.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. म्हणजे to find your own strengths, to understand your own strengths, and like not think about other people, and not blame anyone for anything, and just walk to the path that you want to. So that's awesome.
And I think that comes from gratitude. If you have an attitude of gratitude, hearts open, strength comes.
सो सागाच्या आधीचा तुमचा प्रवास काय होता? आय नो की यू आर द इलेक्टेड प्रेसिडेंट फॉर फ्यू इयर्स नाव, पण त्याच्या आधीचा तुमचा प्रवास कसा होता तो आम्हाला जाणून घ्यायला आवडेल.
All along, I've held positions because I speak 8 Indian languages.
Yeah.
So I belong to different organizations and have served on the boards of different organizations in different capacities, including as a president and executive positions. Additionally, in the medical field as well, I have professional positions, formal
Mhm.
positions. So all that has been carrying on continuously, and I'm currently still the vice president of another community organization, because I believe that if we move forward with the whole community,
Correct.
only then can the community be successful and content.
Correct.
So if that's our goal, this is the only way to do it. In addition, somebody has to offer volunteering in its true spirit. Everyone cannot afford to not take a paid job. And therefore, those of us who can, should. I think it's our moral duty to do it. So I have served on the district PAC, on the school PAC boards, district PAC boards, volunteered at the Olympic Games. So,
Wow.
and then I've judged and run debating competitions, directed children's plays. I enjoy doing all these things, and so depending upon the need of the community that I'm with at the time, I try to service that. My kids play sports, and they used to play music, violin. So I was quite involved in that, and because my mother was a classical Carnatic singer and I was a Bharatanatyam dancer in my younger years, therefore I absolutely love not only our Indian cultural music mosaic, but I also enjoy classical music, all kinds, because I find that classical music is very soothing and very relaxing and brings joy to a lot of people if we take the time. One thing in closing I would like to say, and that is, people say ignorance is bliss. No, ignorance is not bliss. I'm sorry. Gratitude and joyfulness, that is bliss. That is what brings you bliss.
Yeah, that's awesome way to close it, I would say. सो आता तुम्ही तुमची जो काही एक्सपिरियन्स आहे तो इतक्या व्हेरिड फील्ड्समध्ये आहे, तर कुठलं असं फील्ड राहून गेलं का आमचं की जे अजून आम्हाला त्याची माहिती नाही आहे?
40 years is a long time to do a lot of things if you want to do it. Other milestones, I would say, are I am the producer, director, and host and scriptwriter for my own national TV show, and which was very, very well received, as well as I was approached a few years ago by UBC for promoting Indian music, and so I had my own radio show as well. Try to do my best, because in those days, right now, we have a lot of talent in the community and it's coming forward. But in those days, there wasn't. So the cultural shift has happened, and at that time, there was a very great need. Initially, I didn't have the time, and so I didn't commit. But eventually, passion gave way, and I found a way to do this. As I said, I drop everything else and I focus on what I'm doing and do it properly and enjoy it. So I did that as well. And on the TV show, which I think would be very useful for newcomers to Canada, whether they're girls, boys, men, women, it doesn't matter who they are. But on my TV show, this is what I would try to address, is practical life in Canada. How can you move ahead? And we had medical tips, because we're a medical family, we had medical tips. And pertaining to each situation as well, each celebration that happened as well. However, there are a few things that some people learn by reading. Now, of course, you have the internet. In those days, you didn't have the internet. Sometimes you have friends who will help you, or you have some kind of community support. But right now, there is a lot of government community support that people can take advantage of. You need to learn English, you can learn English. You need to know about support programs for childcare, you can have that. You want educational training, you have free educational training programs. It's just a question of not being afraid, but just seeking out what is there and what suits you. Not everything will suit you, and you may not enjoy all of it, but whatever suits you. But above all, if you think you have an international driver's license and you can drive, I would recommend that they should take some lessons so that they can follow the rules of the road properly. And it's no fun landing in an accident and then having to retrieve yourself. That experience is no fun. It's not good. You cause pain to others and yourself. So very simple rules, which you may not have followed in the country you came from, you have to follow them over here. Because if everybody follows rules, it makes life so much easier. So these are all the options that are there. And again, I would just say, don't find people to blame. Look at yourself. What can I do in this situation? How can I improve this situation for me and those around me? And that should be how you find your success.
That is really awesome. And I think as you said की म्हणजे जसं तुम्ही नवीन येणाऱ्या मैत्रिणींना सल्ला दिलात की ऑलवेज थिंक अबाउट लाईक व्हॉट युअर स्ट्रेंथ्स आर, वर्क ऑन देम, डोंट ब्लेम or don't have fear. So I think that is really important for everyone to remember. Also, like, always follow the rules of the land.
Correct.
Learn new things so that you can survive in the new country. And as you rightly said, ignorance is bliss. Just forget that and just say that gratitude and joyfulness is bliss.
Yes.
So really thank you so much for coming. आणि इथे आमच्या सगळ्या मैत्रिणींची तुम्ही बोललात त्याबद्दल खूप खूप धन्यवाद. आणि आम्हाला खूप आनंद झाला, मजा आली तुमच्याशी गप्पा मारून. आय एम शुअर सगळ्यांना आला असेल. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you, and your kindness is so obvious, and that is a very, very important quality that we all should have.